Larry, it is great to see you again. You are involved in so many things. Why this film?
Well, Michelle, before I did the film, I was sort of agnostic about EVs. And the film really is not about how you feel about climate change, whether you're on the side of Joe Biden, who says climate change is an existential threat, or you feel it's much ado about nothing, or you're sort of in the middle. It's not about that. It's about whether or not an EV, all things considered, is better for the planet than a gas-powered car. And before I started doing the documentary, it's been about a year doing it. I interviewed about 47 people. I assumed that they were better for the planet than a gas-powered car. I assumed that the emissions were better for the planet than a gas-powered car, and so forth. So it's called Electric Vehicles: The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, because I wanted to go from ground zero, and examine it and look at everything. And there's a lot of good. It starts out by going to an auto show, one of the more cutting edge auto shows in the world. And the technology in these things is absolutely jaw dropping,
Yeah.
particularly the self-driving feature. We lose 40,000 Americans on the road every single year. And there's no question that if computers took over driving, there would be fewer deaths per 1 million miles. So the technology is amazing. They're fast, they're quiet. And I've never driven one before until I did the documentary. And Michelle, when you take your hand off the wheel and all of a sudden the car begins to do lane changes on its own, it's really kind of scary, but
Yeah.
very, very impressive. And then there's a bad. And the assumption is that EVs on par required less fossil fuel generated energy. It's not true. It takes fossil fuel generated energy to make the EV, to transport the EV, to charge the EV, because most of the electricity is generated by fossil fuels, not wind and solar. So the overall carbon footprint is probably no smaller, and maybe even larger than for an EV for a gas powered car. And then you have the bad. And that is this: we're more dependent upon China than ever before for the chips that go into the car, and for the so-called minerals, including rare earth minerals that go into the battery, the lithium, the cobalt, and the nickel. And we went to Africa, where kids, I'm talking about boys and girls, age under 10 years old, are using their bare hands to mine cobalt, which is toxic, to go into the cars. They're making about $1 or $2 a day. Some of them are slaves. And I think a lot of people who own EVs have no idea that there's a humanitarian aspect to this. And then we're just making China richer and richer. And China is our number one adversary. Do we want to make China richer? And do we want to have on our conscience the treatment of these kids in places like the Republic of the Congo? So you look at everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think people might rethink their knee-jerk assumption that I had, which is that on par, EVs are probably better for the planet than gas-powered cars.